Good morning, everyone. It is a great pleasure to be here this beautiful Sunday morning. And today we have a very special guest. We are hoping everyone is well, everyone is safe. And as usual, we're going to start our meeting with reading, with a small introductory reading. And the passage that we select this morning is from the book Happy Life, dictated by the Spirit Joanna G. Angelis and channeled psychograph by the medium Divaldo Pereira Franco. The message is on chapter 19, and we are going to read it. Be tolerant of others' flaws and do not expose them to the festival of gossip. We all make mistakes. Wise are those who, when they err, learn to act correctly. Should someone fall, offer your hand instead of criticism. Nobody fails intentionally, and when they do, ignorance, their cruel enemy, gains the upper hand. Even then, the one who has failed needs assistance, not reproach. It's a very short message, but very impactful for each and every one of us because we are all subject to errors. And with this initial reading, I'm going to invite you for the opening prayer so we can start our Sunday, with a blessing of the Creator. Dear God, loving Father, we thank you this morning for the blessed opportunity to be able to meet in your name and to talk about the love your Son taught us, reflecting on the importance of the Spiritist Center in our lives. Bless all of us, sir, and inspire our beautiful and dear friend, Tania Schwartz, so she may be able to bring us reflection upon this very important topic, the Spiritist Centers, and its importance in our lives. Bless her, embrace her, and bring us, all of us, joy and illumination in this beautiful Sunday morning. With these words, we ask the permission to initiate our morning, our works in this Sunday. Thank you so much, and so be it. So, as I said in the beginning, good morning again, once again. Today we have a very special guest joining us as we continue to celebrate the 14 years of Conscious Living Spiritist Group's anniversary. Our guest today is Tania Schwartz, and I'm going to read a few information about her bio. Tania Schwartz is the currently Vice President of the United States Spiritist Federation. She dedicates, in her position, the organization of its national Spiritist events and different roles promoting the dissemination of Spiritism in the U.S. Tania is also a founder and president of Kardec's Spiritist Group of Austin in the beautiful state of Texas. She has worked in many different areas within the Spiritist centers in Brazil, France, and the U.S. She has a bachelor's in language and literature and background in marketing. So we have our dear friend talking about the value, the importance of the Spiritist centers for all of us. As a reminder, do write any questions you may have in the chat area right over here, and we will be answering your questions, of course, according to the remaining time that we have today. And in advance, we apologize if you're not able to ask all the questions that might be placed in our chat. Good morning, Tania. How you doing this morning?
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Marcelo. I'm doing really well and very excited to be here. Congratulations to Conscious Living Spiritist Group for 14 years of dedication, of work. And as we're going to be talking today, we will have a glimpse of some of the work that our groups perform and all the support. So we know that 14 years is a lot of dedication, and it's so nice to be here celebrating with you. Thanks for inviting me.
No, we have to thank you very much for this opportunity. It's a true blessing to have you here on board in this beautiful Sunday morning here in Florida and in Austin. I'm sure over there you have like a beautiful weather at this time.
It is.
So, Tanya, we have the dynamic of our talk today. It's basically we are going to place a few questions to you, and of course, during the course of our meeting, our meeting, of course, we're going to have like a few people placing their questions as well. But we have selected one over here that we really would like to hear from you. What do you think? So, in order to understand the value of the Spiritist Center, Tanya, we must understand what is the Spiritist Center. What do you think? What exactly is a Spiritist Center, Tanya?
Well, when we are so involved with doing the work and going to the Spirit Center and all our lives, and the moment that we stop and think about answering that question, there's so many aspects that we want to bring about the Spirit Center, because it sounds like a simple answer, but it is really very profound. The Spirit Center, I was going to say, is a place. Obviously, it is a place, but nowadays we are in that situation where the Spirit Center is kind of spread all over the place in our houses, in our families, and everywhere that we are, like now that we are talking about it, you in your house and me in mine. So let's say it's an organization. It's usually a place where we go to. We spiritists gather to learn, to grow, heal, and serve. I really love that definition, and we're going to go through all of them a little bit, if I may. Okay. Definitely to learn. We study Spiritism, the body of knowledge that was codified by Allan Kardec. And this knowledge is the support for us, get the help to be more fraternal, to learn how to live our lives, to change ourselves. So it is studying and understanding, but also practicing and applying. So obviously, the opportunity in the Spiritist Center to apply, because people say, yeah, we go there, we learn, and we go outside, and then we apply. No, it starts right there, right here, when we are talking about it, when we are having the opportunity of relating to each other. So definitely we learn to be more fraternal, or we at least should be learning how to be more fraternal. It's a place also that we pray together, and we make this connection with God and the high spirits. And of course, we can do that at home, we can do that anywhere. But when we are together in the Spiritist Center, that is so strong. It's this connection gets so deep in our hearts that we feel it. We feel the spirits that are there helping us. Anyway, also, like we said before, it's where we exercise love and compassion, and we have the opportunity to grow. So I'm related to the things that I said at the beginning. So how do we grow spiritually going there? Because we have this opportunity, this relation with others there. So that's where we learn how to really think of ourselves, learn about ourselves the moment we learn about the laws of God. And we support each other. It's like a hospital of the soul, because those who are afflicted, including ourselves, and sometimes mostly ourselves, that's definitely where we find the peace of mind, and we are able to materially and spiritually help each other, serving, working as volunteers that we all are. And we can keep going on and on, but we'll stop here, because so it's a lot of things in one place. It feels like home. It is where we practice everything there.
Very good, very good. Yes, I agree. Definitely, I agree with you. There's something that I remember. There's a very well-known author in Brazil. Her name is Sueli Caldas Schubert. She's
Mhm.
a very renowned spiritual speaker and an author, as I mentioned. And she brings us a very important information that corroborates what you just brought us. That she says, like, the Spiritist Center is simultaneously a temple, a home, a hospital, an office, and a school. And she says that it is the place where souls seek for answers, peace, and also awaken to the realities of the immortal spirit, and all under the guiding light of the promising consoler, which is Spiritism. Its impact has impacted us very much. And Tania, by reading the works of Chico Xavier in the series Life in the Spirit World,
Mhm.
see the spirit author André Luiz providing us with lots of information about the spirit and the work that takes place within and outside of the four walls. So we have learned with these benefactors that the physical walls of the Spiritist Center, it's not its limitation. Its location transcends the physical walls. So let's talk about the team of workers
Uh-huh.
found in the invisible world, and also the team of workers in the physical realm. Let's visit, Tania, some areas of the Spiritist Centers. Can you speak a little bit about some of the areas of the Spiritist Centers and its works? Can you describe like a few things, if you may?
Yeah, sure. That's very interesting, because we are sometimes so focused or so distracted by what we see, the material side of the Spiritist Center, that it's very important what you're saying, because then we have to realize that work has started much before we get there. The high spirits, the superior spirits, the benefactors, those who planned all the work, counting on us to materialize it in the center. They were there much before, doing all the I would say the cleansing of the rooms or the ambience where we need to have we'll have the meetings, and therefore doing that, they are able to remove those energies that are brought with us when we get there, because our thoughts are not always very elevated. We have all the concerns of everyday lives, and we get irritated, we get upset, sometimes even on the way to the Spirit Center, and we are so disconnected. That's very important that as we get there, at least the place is ready for us to benefit the most possible that we can. Obviously, it depends on us to take advantage of that, but they do their part. So they also have the whole protection of the center. Like you said, is not only that area that we see physically, but all around they do this magnetic protection to try to kind of have a triage and avoid more conflicts or more disturbance to that ambience where we're having the studies and treatments that we have, spiritual treatments that we have when we are in the Spiritist Center. So they help by also sometimes not allowing some of those spirits that are accompanying us, that are not ready to go in there and take advantage of that, the lessons that we're going to be learning. So they're kept outside, sometimes still waiting for us. So we need to always be vigilant, but they, at least while we're there, we have more possibilities to learn. So they do that triage. But also, as we are in the Spiritist Center, even though we don't see, or most of us don't see, they are collaborate with their intuition to us. You know, the same way that I bet that now with us here, you and I and everybody watching, we are really, if we're connected, the high spirits are bringing this intuition to help us with the messages that we're getting. So the speakers of the house, or even when we are in the mediumistic sessions, dialoguing with the spirits, they are there inspiring us, helping us find the right way to touch their heart and help. So it's very valuable how they work with us, collaborating, and the passes combine the spiritual healing, right, their energy with our magnetic and more material energy to do the treatment through the passes, through this healing to the people that are there seeking help and support. You know, there, like you said, the size of the Spirit Center opens up, and sometimes as we're praying, we feel that we are together with them in places that go much, much beyond that area that we are in the center. So definitely there are many, all the work is supervised, organized, and directed by them. So things work better when we make that connection. And some people will say, how come you always say, you know, do the prayers before you start any of the meetings, you know, Spiritist Center or related to the spirituality? Well, because this is our resource with them, with their connection. They are with us in the whole process of learning and practicing every time, no doubt.
Very good. Very good. I guess you described like a few departments, if I may use this expression, of the Spiritist Centers, public meetings, the magnetic passes, it takes place at the meetings. Of course, we have many other departments, many other works, and it's really important what you bring, what you brought us in this morning. All of this is very true. We learn with André Lewis in the book Missionaries of the Light that at each Spiritist Center, a whole army of Christ workers, that's the expression that he uses, a whole army of Christ's workers labors in activities regarding spiritualization, calling us to enlightening sentiments. I love this expression, enlightening sentiments to active virtue and to the higher realms of the inner life. And perhaps this is why in the beautiful book that we recommend each and every one that they're listening to us to read, The Gospel According to Spiritism, we see a very powerful recommendation from the Spirit of Truth. And this recommendation, it touched me a lot because it brings us like a sequence of actions from the Spiritist. In Kardec, and the Spirit of Truth reveals us, like, and says, like, among quotes, all Spiritists love one another. This is the first teaching. And educate yourself. This is the second one. I love this passage. What does this mean to you, Tania? What can you share with us about this commandment, this recommendation that the Spirit of Truth brings to us?
Mhm. Now, that's definitely in the Gospel in chapter 6, item 5, for those of you who want to go and check there what we're talking about. Definitely love is, the main sentiment, the main, in the first one that says there, love one another. That's what, Jesus was for us and is for us the model of loving, right? And unconditional love. So we are still in the process of learning this love. We still confuse a lot. We overuse the word love, because we can love our bicycle and love our house and love things, and it's okay, we can love them. But this love we're talking about and that the Spirit of Truth brought to us is so much deeper. It is this unconditional love that we are still in the process of learning. So, as sons and daughters of God, as we are destined to be this person that will love unconditional, love our enemies, those who hurt us. So let's not take it lightly when it says Spiritists love one another. There's always challenges in the everywhere, right? In the family, in the Spiritist Center, relationships bring those challenges to us all the time. So anything we do, love should come first, because sometimes we get stuck into the organization of the Spiritist Center, how we're going to do that event, how are we going to organize that speaker that is coming from out of town, or other definitely very important rules that will make the Spiritist Center work and make it very helpful and beneficial to everyone. Definitely we need those rules, and we need to educate ourselves, learn and study and bring the knowledge in a broad way. But love comes first, because the moment that we are able to put love into everything that we do, everything else will follow in a more harmonic way. So the danger when we refer to the organization and all these restrictions that sometimes the rules can bring to us is that we forget our main issue of helping and supporting and welcoming and embracing those who come to the Spiritist Center in need. So let's really pay attention. The order that the Spirit of Truth told us, both are there. Didn't say just to love or just to educate ourselves, but first comes love and educate ourselves. And educating in not only the knowledge that is related to science and the intellect, but knowledge of us as immortal spirits, as this learning process that we're going through, that we are apprentices of all the lessons that Jesus taught us. So it is definitely a very important order, because if we put our intellect first, and without the moral advancement, we can really mess it up. We can definitely put ourselves in a position that we will lose touch, and we're going to make bad decisions. Because if we focus only on the intellect, and that we are there to really know it all, having all this knowledge, and we can not apply the knowledge in the right way. So let's pay attention of the order. That's what it brings to me, Marcelo, right? It brings the importance of both, the two wings in Spiritism that we learn, right? The moral and the intellect advancement, where that's the way we can fly with the two wings and fly to being one day this perfect spirits that we are aiming to, but not putting one ahead of the other in the wrong order. Otherwise, we can lose ourselves. We can get lost in the process.
Very nice. Very nice. It is true. And I remember the question 780, the march of progress. Intellectual progress sometimes comes first, so it can create the base for the process of loving, this moral evolution. But I really love this quote, this recommendation of the Spirit of Truth. So love one another. This is the first one, because sometimes when we put intellect, of course we need to educate ourselves. That's absolutely true. And Kardec mentioned this like in many portions of his works. But loving one another, it comes for the very fundamental, basic principle that Jesus brought us a long time ago, and it's still like we're still struggling to exercise this loving one another. This is a process of evolution, of course, but we're gonna get there. So that's really true. I have a question. I'm looking at the chat here. There's like many questions, and I think the questions Susanna Simons brought up like one question that it's pretty much aligned with the one that we are wanted to bring you. So, thinking about the importance of the Spiritist Center during the pandemic, especially when we are still practicing safe distance, how has the Spiritist Center prepared us? And Susanna, bring us like in face of COVID-19 and all the work being done online, what is the value of having a physical place? Do we still need a physical space, and why? So I don't know if you got the sequence of questions.
Sure, there are many questions in one there, right? So let's talk a little bit about, and hopefully I will cover it all. When it's a kind of a tricky question, right? I mean, because it's not that we were not prepared. We were prepared by, like we said before, the spirituality was, of course, preparing us. By the time we went to, sleep, our body was sleeping, but our spirits continue, relating to them, being inspired and taught by the spirituality. So even though we were taken by surprise here by this pandemic, and we definitely were prepared. The Spiritist Centers prepared us to. Well, we didn't know that was coming, but on the other hand, when it happened, we immediately knew the importance, the need to continue, no matter what. And we had the technology. We always did. We had before. We had some events that were broadcasted virtually. I mean, via the internet, but was never something that we paid as much attention. We never saw that as a real resource. In the way that we are doing now, of course, a lot of us did use the virtual learning and spreading. It has been a few years, but we definitely jumped into doing what we need to do to congregate, even if we are separated in our homes, even if we cannot be at the physical Spiritist Center. But the Spiritist Center, like we said, goes beyond the house or the group itself. It is where we have the whole spiritual connection, and the spirituality is working there, always helping us. It's not that we are stuck in one place. So for those spirit centers that could not maintain the room, the physical center, but we continue doing virtually for now, it's not that you feel it's over, it's gone. Let's not take this as a tragedy that we are done with the Spiritist Center, but instead that we keep our connection. We have that every time we connect virtually, we put ourselves into that place together, where the fraternity that we encounter together with the challenges, but the fraternity, the love, and everything that we learn together, we feel stronger when we put ourselves mentally there. So I would say that we definitely, it's very important, has shown the importance of this connection. And were able, and I say we, meaning many different spirit centers, to collect ourselves and have, if not all, we don't have the mediumistic sessions, but we have the studies, the vibrations, the groups that met for the mediumistic and the studies. We continue studying together and keeping this connection, so that when we are able to be in the same room again, we continue the work and we continue with the same connection. And even now, we definitely are putting ourselves in the position of serving, of helping. And the spirituality is taking advantage of this giving that we are doing when we get together in the name of all this work that we always do, in order to continue helping the spirits that need. So some people are concerned that we are not having some of those meetings with the dialogues. Well, when we are together and praying, we are in the position of helping, and the spirituality will do what they can and take advantage of that. So I would say that that it's very important for all of us to continue this connection. We were prepared by our mentors, the mentors of these houses. We are still Kardec Spiritist Group of Austin, Conscious Living Spiritist Group, and every group, because the body of the group are the people that belong to this kind of connection that we are making. So let's not, even if we're tired, sometimes people say, but I'm so tired being in front of the computer. I worked full time. And then we say, but it's so different being working in front of the computer and connecting and being together in this moment that we vibrate together. We send this love to the planet that is so much in need, that we put ourselves in the position of doing a fraternal assistance that we do virtually. That's fine. But we are able to be at their disposal, at people that are going through so much trouble right now. The depression is so high. People that are considering suicide and having this connection. And I keep saying the word because it's not virtual and we are all separated. We are together on this. So definitely let's, thank you. As somebody said, let's choose to be connected. And it is now depending on our discipline much more, because before we go, okay, today is Sunday morning, I'm going to the Spiritist group, and it was kind of part of our routine. Now we need to change the routine in terms of saying, I need to stop what I'm doing the next room in our house, but I'm going now to dedicate this time, not only to receive, but to give. Not only, and continue helping the Spiritist Center, because we still have fundraising activities. We need to reinvent ourselves. right? We need to figure out how to do. The biggest fundraiser was the parties and getting together, and now we can't. So how do we keep that feeling alive in us, and the need that we all have to help each other continue? So not sure if I touched all the points that you brought, Marcelo, but kind of touching here and there for us really to know that it's very, very important what we are doing here. Not because it's you and me, not because, no, it's because the spirits that are here with us and supporting us. And it's such a hard time. We underestimate what some people are going through. Some homes that are, the violence is there and you are stuck at home, right? Sometimes people go to the Spirit Center. That was the refuge, right? That's where we would go. Oh gosh, that's Oasis now. Now the Oasis has to be closing the door, and sometimes it's close to impossible, right? But it is this need that we feel to really get stronger in this time. It will pass, but might take a while. So let's not count on, oh, let's wait. We cannot wait. Let's be together now.
Very nice. I definitely agree with you, and we're gonna come up like stronger than ever. This shall pass, and even in the works of Allan Kardec in the Spiritist review, we see cases like that. The pandemic took place in a very remote island in the Indic Ocean, the Mauritius Island, and there's like one very close story, of course, in a very small scale, but something that passed exactly in that specific moment. So this shall pass, and we're going to come up very much stronger, as you mentioned. I definitely agree with everything that you've mentioned.
And I tell you, what we learned, how blessed are we having all this technology? We are we are not alone, and people can choose not to be alone. It takes extra effort, but we can do that. 100 years ago when we had other pandemics, right?
Definitely.
The Spanish flu and other, well, we were really stuck, right? That
Exactly.
were nothing compared. So let's not victimize ourselves because we have that tendency of feeling sorry for ourselves. Of course, there are days we allow ourselves to, yeah, we are sad, especially if we get to know somebody who is going through the disease and the losses that we are encountering. But at the same time, let's pick up our faith, right? Where is it? Right? When we talk about faith, this is the testimonial. This is the time when everything is good and it's easy to be very, faithful and say that we are spiritists and have that label. But anyway, it's a very challenging, but it's worth it. It's worth every moment.
That's right. That's right. To see the impact of technology in these times of pandemic, we have here a list of people that are connecting to us. To see the walls of the Spiritist centers are much broader than we think. We have people from Austin, people that are following you. We have people from Connecticut. We have people from Rio de Janeiro. Can you imagine? We
Yeah.
have people from Philippines. This is their time to go to bed, and they are like connected to us. And we have people from Florida. So the walls of the Spiritist centers in the time of pandemic has like amplified in such a way that we never thought before.
That's
Beautiful,
true. That's
beautiful.
true. It's almost like the spirituality telling us, see, you thought you knew before that this was much bigger, but now you have the proof. Look at this. Right? We have it, and how we are taking really advantage of that opportunity.
Mhm.
Let's really pay attention how, and you know, the fact is we cannot even imagine that even after we go back to the physical spirit center, because definitely we, that space is so important to be together. That brings a different, like it feels home, right, to us. For us who have been spiritists all our lives, and I'm not going to say how many years because that will give it away. But
Yeah.
all our lives, it is definitely something we miss. We miss being there together. But afterwards, what we envision is that we're going to have a hybrid situation. I don't think that we will ever really now give up on this kind of possibility of having our conversations online and our studies. And I think we'll take much more advantage, continue taking advantage of the technology, and having the meetings also physical when we can get to. So it'll be hybrid, right? Will be both. It feels like it.
Very nice. I have one comment here that I would like to read, brought by Susanna Simon. Another point of view that she's learning is to value physical presence. We have delegated friendships to online world. We must prioritize meeting friends, investing in personal relating, true intimacy and friendship. This is really nice. We are craving for this moment. So
How many times I mean, we heard and we repeated so many times that we were just leaning on the social media and this kind of relationships and text message and WhatsApp, right? I mean, these are all great. But if this is not all, we don't replace. And this, if we are able to learn the lessons, really, that this pandemic is bringing, like Susanna said, very happy to be here with you, Susanna. It's nice to hear from you. It is definitely important to see how this craving, let's not forget that the challenge will still be there, right? When I say that, I don't say in a negative way. It's just a matter of the differences. We are all different. We
exactly.
understand things. We're in a different backgrounds and different pace in our evolution. Some things are difficult for me, easy for you, and vice versa. But then when we are in the Spiritist Center, sometimes we get offend, or anywhere for that matter, by the way, together. But we get offended by little things. It has to be my way, not your way. And we waste so much valued time in little problems. Same with the family, right? Boy, I miss my family in Brazil. How much I'd like to be able to be there with no risk, right? Obviously, I could go there. There is risk involved. But anyway, so we definitely sometimes think, why didn't I take advantage when we were together last time to hug and say how much we love each other,
Yeah.
right? I can imagine when we get back together, that would be a big thing, right? Hugging and saying and this and that. We'll get old eventually, but we should really take it and the importance of all
Would
this in our
would
lives.
be a nuclear fusion. Boom.
Yes,
Get back together. Sorry, I interrupt. I was interrupting.
no, that's fine.
Okay. There's another question, and I'm sorry. I see here. See, I have a gentleman that we like him very much. It's a very important worker, Stephen Bertozzo from Ireland. He's following us at this moment.
Hi, Stephen.
Dear brother that performs a beautiful work in the lands of Ireland. There's another question here, Tania, that we have selected, and another very impactful phrase within the gospel according to Spiritism, that it's right in the beginning of the gospel according to Spiritism. And it says, Unshakable faith is only the kind that can stand face to face with reason in all human epochs. Do you feel that Spiritist centers can provide us with an unshakable faith as established by Allan Kardec? What do you think?
Well, this is a tricky question, Marcel.
Uh-huh.
I'll tell you why. It's tricky because the Spirit Center cannot provide us with the faith. So that's why it's tricky. Because even in the gospel, it says that faith cannot be prescribed, right? Let me see. It's gospel, uh, chapter 19. Faith cannot be prescribed. In other words, nobody, Spirit Center, person, church, anywhere, can uh, give to us or make us believe or force us, I should say. That's what I mean by providing. But definitely, uh, by the studies, by the testimonials of those high spirits, that in the moments that we are not so sure, it's shaky, they show us and gives us that opportunity to rethink and definitely be able to say no, 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 no. Definitely there is no way this is not happening because reason. Remember, we talked about God being the creator. God is the one that creates matter and the spirit. So the laws for one and the laws for God is from the same source. And we shouldn't have any doubts. And faith can go in hand to hand with science. We'll get there. We're, learning that. So the moment that we start learning all this in the Spiritist centers, learning about Spiritism and all the principles and how the spirits will be talk about faith in a way that we are able to question and look at the situations and say, oh, that makes sense. I understand now. I understand what this passage is telling me instead of just saying, blindly, I believe because I'm supposed to believe, but we are using our reasoning and increasing this reasoning through the knowledge. And that happens when we are together studying and practicing. Definitely, this is where this person cannot dig in and put the faith in us, but gives us the tools that will do the job. We need to be ready. We need to want and seek for that kind of faith that is unshakable because we are tested. Tests will come, like we were mentioning before. So how do we handle this with the tools that we were talking before in the Spiritist Center, from the spirits, from the work that we do there? When we are in the Spiritist Center and we have our passes or the whole I'll call treatment in the sense of the spiritual treatment, where we are able to connect and have the passes and also learn how to become a better person and work in our inner transformation. All those together, are able to help us to have these tools. And when test comes, that's the time to practice our faith. So we are getting there. The more we evolve, the more this faith is going to be completely unshakable, right? If it makes sense.
Makes perfectly sense. And, I remember on the Gospel according to Spiritism, chapter 17, "Be perfect," on item 4, and I am going to read it. Item 4. It says, like the good spirits, it brings Spiritism when well understood, but especially when well felt, inevitably leads to the results listed above, which is the moral person, which characterize the true Spiritists as well as the true Christians. I love this passage because I remember, maybe if I may add some comment, I agree 100% what you brought to us. And maybe one of the greatest value of the Spiritist Center is bringing this Christianity, this pure Christianity, bring this Christ that we don't understand nowadays. And if I mention Joanna de Angelis, the spirit author, the spirit guide of Divaldo Franco in the book Jesus in Our Days, she states that the present moment that we are living desperately needs an uncrucified Jesus, a companion, a therapist, offering us urgent assistance to keep it from all of us over the edge. And I also, Emmanuel states that symbolically, Spiritism is Jesus returning to the world, inviting us to individual growth through constructive and incessant work. And this perhaps is the greatest and the most powerful aspect of the Spiritist Center, reminding us all that all is under control and that our Master Jesus is with us. As one of the books, until the end of time, till the end of time. We are running out of time, and I apologize because we beautiful comments over here, and forgive us if we didn't have the time to answer all the questions. I'm going to pass the word to you, Tania, to give us the final comment, your final considerations, and after that, you can engage in our final prayer so we can end this meeting with the blessing of the good spirits, with the spirituality that works constantly and tirelessly among all of us and around the world to promote this regeneration era, not outside, inside of our hearts, so we can reflect the result of this growth, the growing process that we still residing inside of us and reflecting outside. The final comments are yours, Tania.
Okay.
Be our guest.
Thank you, Marcelo. No, definitely. I think you said very well that we need really to, when we talk about the word connection, and the connection is to bring Jesus in our lives, not having Jesus far away, but really the moments that we make our decisions, that love that we talked about before is the main value that we have in the Spiritist centers, either physically or virtually, because we still feel the same love and the same connection to those that are part of our lives, to the extent not only our local Spiritist centers, but as a part of a federation, a national federation, the United States Spiritist Federation, as you guys also have this, affiliated to the Florida Spiritist Federation, we gather together more and more in groups, again, virtually, that give us that strength to go through anything. We are much stronger than we think. But let's welcome people. Let's hug them, virtually, in the sense of listening to their pain, and give our love to them, our time. Everybody can get a phone and call those that we know from our spirit centers, from our families, that are in need of company, that might need some food taken to their doors. There are so many ways that we can be helpful. Let's not go inside ourselves and just forget that being part of a Spiritist center is not only when we have those big parties, end of the year, or friendship parties. No, that is also part of it, but it is now that we have the possibility of learning. And somebody mentioned, I saw on the screen about how much we learn about compassion, empathy. Let's we feel so blessed. There's so many things that are okay. We have work, we are healthy, we have the family. What is there that people need from us? Let's not forget our real role as spiritists, like Marcelo said. Uh, if we forgot, let's read the gospel. Let's be together. So those are very good reminders. And believe me, we forget. We think we know. But and some people say, why do I need to listen to these lessons? I know already. Well, it's a reminder. That's what we're here for, right? To be reminded of who we are, immortal spirits in progress. Let's never forget that and get distracted by what is going on and the politics and the pandemic and so many other things that can really take us off track. Let's get and stay on track of our spiritual evolution. So before we go to our final prayer, we want to thank Conscious Living, congratulate you guys again for 14 years of this beautiful work. Thank you for inviting me, having me, and sharing this special moment with all of you. And I wish many, many more years of work and that we can be like this together in our events, right? But also here virtually and more than anything in our hearts, because your guys are always in my heart. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
So the prayer?
Yes, please.
Okay. So with this wonderful connection that we have with the high spirits, our hearts are so grateful. We feel it with love and the wish that we all have to be helpful. Please, God, send always your messengers in our way, that we are able and deserve these messengers close to us, always inspiring us to go through any times, sharing and celebrating together the good times, but also and especially when we need the support that we can rely, like we always do, on your love and your support. Thank you for this morning, for the studies, for the way we all felt, and that we can continue together now and always, and so be it.
Thank you very much, Tania, for your presence, for your loving energy. And we would like to thank the presence, this connection that we have established at this beautiful Sunday morning, saying goodbye and to all of you. And thank you so much for participating in this celebration, this very special moment of our celebrating, as we are celebrating the 14th anniversary of Conscious Living Spiritist Group. Tania, big hug, a big hug for all of you, and thank you so much. God bless you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.